you on a kind of a garden tour and let you know what I planted, because what better day than tax day to plant something in the garden where I get a return on my investment. When I put something in the ground, I take care of it, and guess what? It gives me something back. I love that. So let's go ahead and try that. I'm going to flip you guys around and we'll kind of walk through it. I planted a whole bunch of stuff today. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about kind of why I planted it where I did and the importance of it and kind of everything that I have going on. I did not plant everything. I moved stuff. I moved stuff around, and so I'll explain that too. Part of the other part I want this for is I want to be able to see this later on and look back at when my garden was itty bitty and there wasn't that much to it. So when it gets big and lush and amazing, I can go back and be like, yeah, I did that. That's amazing. So you guys, let's go on this tour together. We start out, first of all, by walking over to my little garden beds. Why? Because they're doing pretty well. There used to be a bunch of tomato plants right in that hole right there. I pulled them out and planted them. There also were some cantaloupe. I pulled them out. So let's kind of walk over and show you where the cantaloupe went. Went around the corner. My old garden beds that I had over here on the ground, they have a lot in them. I put charcoal in them. I put eggshells and other like shells there, and I added some plants. Now look, they look putrid right now, right? Because I just watered them. They got beat up. The plants are all beat up right now. But I will get to watch them kind of grow. And once the roots start growing, they're going to perk up and do well. So I'm excited about those. These are all cantaloupe plants. This area, I don't mind if the vines just go outside the boxes and go everywhere, because they've done that before and I can just mow around them. Or if they want to get crazy and just take over the whole area, I can just walk through them. So I'm not worried about that. I'd be really excited to just have some cantaloupe. And these are cantaloupe that have already been acclimated to my area. So they are from Oklahoma. They're seed saved, so I went ahead and grabbed them. My beds are still in progress. So this one I added no soil to yet. It still is being watered and just everything being tamped down. I added soil to this yesterday. So this is a bed that's been prepped but not planted yet. This one also has been prepped and not planted yet. It will be soon. I haven't decided what I'm putting there. This little bed right here. This is my pepper bed. So I've got striped bell peppers in the very, very front. I've got baby bells behind that. And I've got regular bell peppers in 4 rows behind that. My goal is for this whole bed to just be a bunch of lush green pepper plants where I can come out and pick them and snack on them and eat them. And it'll be fantastic. Now, each of those little bitty plants that I took from, look at the little tomatoes. That little bitty baby thing is being planted, and I put them all over. I got some more, and I'm just letting them go through. Notice they're all beat up. Again, they're all just sitting there barely, they're itty bitty, so I'm going to let them see who makes it and who doesn't. And I'm kind of comfortable with that, because I'll have some more growing. If I need to replace them later, I can. But again, I'm just planted these little baby things. I'm going to let them grow and see what happens. Hopefully, I get big old tomato plants. Now, in between that, in the middle, I went ahead and planted some onions, so you'll see some of those red onions in there. I also, on the outside edges, on the very far ends over here, right there, and on the other far end of this bed, which I believe is about 12 feet long. I planted some marigolds. Why? Those marigolds are put there for several different reasons. The biggest reason is for me to have bees, because I want bees to come in here. And of course, I have other flowers and stuff that will be out here as well. On the edges of each one of these, on this side, I planted, I did basil. I also did thyme for half of this, and then I did carrots coming up this last row right here. So again, on this side by the tree, I have basil, carrots, and thyme. And on the other side over here, I did more onions, of course, because again, my wife and I, we eat a lot of onions, and we use green onions for everything. And I added a whole lot more herbs in here as well. And I planted that in the front, so I'm excited about that. And then, so this is going to be a big old bed of a bunch of green and lush and all the things in not too far off. This is a mixture of like humus, fancy dirt and manure is what it is. Why? Because I think both of those things work. So I put both of those in here on top of the leaves and everything. As the leaves rot. They will also bring nutrients out from the bottom, which I've had good luck with that. I also will throw like kitchen scraps out here. I save all of my kids eat a lot of bananas, like a ton of bananas. So what do? I take those bananas and I put them in a jar, and I go ahead and do that. Hello, nice to see you, Shadow. So yeah, I absolutely go ahead and put those in a jar, and I leave them sit for a while, and I use that water to water my tomatoes because they're good to help like end rot. I also took some more of my cantaloupe and put them over here. For those of you that don't know, maybe you haven't been around a while, this right here is where all of my compost piles were. So if you notice, the soil right here is very, very dark. It's had 2 compost piles at least in this area, and so that some of them are growing up on their own, and I thought I would add a couple more just to kind of guide your way through it. Let me give you an example of what my soil normally looks like. That is like concrete right there. So I'm still trying to fix my soil and fix it from being all crazy. So I have that going on. Of course, I've got to show you that I'm so excited. I believe my sage is getting ready to flower. So I am ready to do that. Thank you, Shadow. I appreciate it. This right here is going to be flowering sage. Once that flowers, the branches should come off of it. This I use for all kinds of cooking. Anything poultry, anything with tomato sauce, anything that I can get my hands on. I want to put food in it. That's going to be there. That is an Easter lily that I keep. As a matter of fact, all of those are Easter lilies. So I'm going to let that thing grow and see what happens. If they all grow up and they all flower, I'm going to have the prettiest little garden of Easter lilies that come up. Onions, of course, are still growing. That's my garlic scapes. I do want to show you a couple things, and that is I'm excited about this right here. That is, I believe, green beans. So they are starting to grow, and I am very, very stoked about that. I want to be able to snap green beans and let my family eat them. And then I've got pea plants. This, I'm super, super excited. Why? Because I love raw peas. I like to snap them and eat them, and they are really exciting for me, so I just really adore that. I also added in this bed where I used to have tomatoes last year. They grew pretty well, but they could be better. In this instance, I went ahead and put cucumbers. These cucumbers that I got these seeds from were oversized. So they were very, very big. So my hope is that, one, I've got this big old cage so that if I end up with a bunch of vines, the vines will stay in here and I'll be able to reach in and pull those cucumbers out. That's my goal. I'm going to pick them a little smaller than what I got them because, again, they were so big, so that I can have them. We can have them for slicing, for water, for eating, for making cream cucumbers, all the things that we like to eat. Being able to just make things out of them, it'll be fantastic. Again, this little box has done terrible, to be really honest with you, just a bad little box. So I just put onions in there to see what happens. If not, I'll end up throwing the box away because I don't know if it's got problems, the soil's got problems, or I got problems. It could be any of us. I'm just now starting to see some. That right there, I believe, is oregano. So I believe those little leaves that are coming up should be the oregano plant. I'll see as they start to leaf out. That right there, I'm waiting on. I believe that's oregano as well. I had several oregano plants coming in, and I'm ready for them to come out. These were all peppers there, and right there were peppers, so I'm going to let them grow. And if the sticks don't work, I'll just cut them at the ground and let it sit because I don't want to disturb the soil. That is a random, I don't know if that's a cucumber or a cantaloupe, but I'm letting it go, and if it gets all crazy, I'll move it. That's kind of what I do with my plants. Sometimes they just take on a life of their own, and I want to give them that. I've got tomato plants that are growing in here on their own. Oh, well, I've got that little guy. That, I believe, is an onion. This right here is a tomato plant. That is a tomato plant. That is a tomato plant. Those I will leave just because they've kind of decided that's where they want to be. And there's some times that I go, like, change things. Other times I let nature determine what I'm going to do. And sometimes I let Mother Nature just say, stay here and let it happen. So I thought, why not? I'll do that. Reminder, my little purple plant is awake. It's a little bit cooler this morning, so it did not like that. Now it's awake and looking beautiful again, so I'm excited about that. Let me give you one last look at my rosemary bush. And you guys are probably like, wait a minute, I had a little bunny come out of here earlier. I'm like, you know what? As long as you're not messing with stuff, I'm cool. Remember, I had to give her a haircut. That's one of the hardest parts. So if you step back, look, she has a chunk out of her. I'm like, oh man. She is about 3.5 feet wide, 3.5 feet long, but I had to take this big chunk out because it was all frozen. So I had to cut all the dead spots out. Hopefully we'll have branches come out towards me and it'll fill out again. I believe that will happen once we get to the more growing season. At this point, we're just starting to see the growth on it. So my hope is it'll start coming towards me and fill out again. But again, I'm not too worried about it. I've got a whole bunch of this already. Once it gets to a certain size, I will cut it in half. I'll give it a haircut of about 6 inches, and I'll use that for cooking and all the things I need, and then let it continue to grow. It grows really well over the summertime. It is considered an evergreen. However, I will let you know, it does not like really, really cold. This right here is the inspiration for me to put that sage plant in the ground. My hope is that this plant right here is the same size as this plant, because if I can get that sage to be that big, I will not have to worry about sage at all. And I like that, because if I can save myself money on produce, on food, on vegetables, and all the things, I will be very excited. This is just the very beginning of my garden season this year. I have a whole lot more coming. I have, of course, more boxes that I will be growing, and I can't wait to show you as they grow. We'll get to watch them as they start to root and they start to have all the soil they need and all the nutrients they need. And I will be able to show you them growing up, but also them fruiting and what I do to fix that. I would love to tell you that I am super, super like technical when I do things. I'm really not. I do things by feeling a lot. So when I'm like pruning my tomatoes, I look at tomato plants and I go, you know what? I think at this point it looks bad. So I rip that branch off. Or I think that this one is looking a different color, so I knock that off. And that has always worked for me. There are people that are very technical, they do very technical things. And again, that's great. I love that. Follow those people if you want to be technical. If you want to just watch something grow and enjoy just getting to walk in my backyard, feel this beautiful breeze today, and enjoy what we're doing, I always ask you to come and join me. Come and join the Backyard Gardening channel and watch what's growing in my backyard. It's so exciting. It saves me money in the grocery store. It is food that I get to produce for my kids, for my wife, and I really, really enjoy it. So I hope that you guys have a great day and truly, truly enjoy yourselves and keep watching. And don't forget to subscribe to my whole network. I've got 12 different channels on different subjects. You're guaranteed to find something that you love.